Coding is everywhere. Our work, our hobbies, how we communicate. Pretty much everything I spend my time on is based on programming and codes, but I haven't got the slightest idea how it works. I mean, what's this? And how does Google work? And is there any difference between the coding in my camera and computer? And since we use it so much, I think it's pretty obvious to have a basic understanding on how programming works. So why 20 hours? Well, I read this book.
Here's where the first 20 hours comes in. Apparently there's a book on the subject, but I didn't actually read the book, I just saw the TED Talk.
Well, yeah, okay, I saw a couple of clips of a video with a girl who had seen a TED Talk based on a book. But that's not the point. The claim of the book is that we need 20 hours of practice at something to become decent. And it's enough time for us to find out if we truly enjoy something and if we should move forward with it. And based on my research, yeah, I would say that's correct. I'm honestly really excited for this and I can't wait to start and get my introduction to coding. So I'm gonna do this pretty intensely. Why do I wear the beanie like that? It looks completely So I'm gonna do 10 hours straight for 2 days with non-disrupted programming. And to give an idea of my prior knowledge with this, I know that HTML is like the structure and the skeleton of web pages. Java is like buttons and movements, links. And that Python is a program for applications. Literally, that's all I know. Tomorrow, it's truly gonna be my first taste on coding. See you tomorrow. The first thing I did was to find out which language would be the best one for me to learn. And apparently it's not a hierarchical system as I thought, but you're advised to learn the programming language that is best suited to build what you want to build. Because I'm not that prepared, I thought website creation seemed like a useful entry to my coding life and something that I likely will find useful when I'm gonna sell unuseful things through this YouTube channel and become rich. That's how I landed on HTML, CSS and JavaScript. I found this free course on General Assembly, which was a good place to start. You have the tasks and tutorials in the upper left corner and your codes in the lower left, and the results are displayed on the right part of the screen. To begin with, you basically copy the tutorial, but I try to use my time and understand the logic, because if I just mindlessly copy everything, I'm not gonna learn much. So here I wrote email and submit, and this is an email form and a submit button. How does this know that's a button? That's a text field? That must be the backend Python thing. I've finished the General Assembly basic course, and I for sure have a much better understanding on HTML, CSS and JavaScript and how they work together. They're not as much separate languages as I thought to begin with. I assumed I would use different programs for each of them, but turns out they're just basically different functions in the same page. So it seems like it makes sense learning them parallelly, if that's the word. If not, at the same time. I'm now at the level where it's starting to make sense when I look at a piece of code, but I think I would have a hard time recreating the code just from the DOM without any help. It's much like learning real or ordinary languages. You eventually understand quite a bit, but then when you're going to talk yourself, it's very muy difícil hablar. To better understand and test myself in the basics, I proceeded with Code Academy's similar course. I found it less engaging than General Assemblies, so I only completed the first module. And I spent the rest of the time doing random research about coding. Now, once I had a tiny bit of understanding of the basics, I decided to set a goal and have a more specific approach for the second day. So the goal for day 2 was to create the most popular social media platform of 2021. And I call it Best Social, or for short, BS. Facebook is one of our main competitors and they do pretty well. So I'll copy their color theme so I'll get a head start. I downloaded an HTML editor and used what I created in the tutorial on day 1 as a starting point. Okay guys, let me present to you the future of social networks. Best Social. Best Social is connecting the world. Do you want to see more? Yeah, just click this JavaScripted button here. Oh. With Best Social, you can share your most favorite images with your best friends. Well, you can't, but you know. And this is where you login form. Best social, works great, looks great. Best social is for everyone in 2021. Sign up here. Okay, I'm gonna take a little break now, get some movement in, and then I'll continue working on JavaScript because that's where, yeah, honestly, I don't really understand much of it yet. This can be really frustrating. I feel like nothing is working now. I wanted to make an image appear by clicking on a button. I don't have too much time left, so I'm not gonna sit there and struggle with JavaScript anymore. I'm gonna jump over to HTML and CSS again. I'll try to start with a blank slate. I also need to do something I have a better hang on because I need to raise this confidence level right now. Okay, it's all good. I'm happy again. I just made this. Wow. Beautiful, huh? I'm getting pretty good at this. If you want to learn how to code yourself, then check out my coding course in the description. Yeah, it's very cheap, so yeah, remember to get your spot. Okay, that's about what I had time for. So, is 20 hours enough to become decent at coding? No, didn't expect that either. But it was enough to learn the basics and get a good impression on HTML and CSS. And now it's like in ordinary languages, if I know a little bit of the grammar and some glossary. Without any help, I'm going to be pretty lost, but with some guidance from the internet, I'm going to be able to create something. And with the JavaScript, I basically got that events get activated through some kind of stimuli, but even the most basic syntax is still pretty foreign. But what I like about coding, and what I think if I continue doing it I'll appreciate even more, is how it's much like making videos or taking photos. You don't need permission from anyone to do it. You don't have to depend on anyone else. You can do it 24/7. You can do it in your own tempo. You can literally create the next big app. Or social media platform, Best Social. You know where to sign up. You can just create that today. And to get these results that I made, you can of course go to the w3schools.com page. That was a really great resource, and copy everything in. But then if you need to change colors or change the size of something, then you're going to be pretty lost. So having the basic understanding is valuable. And again, it's like in foreign languages. You can easily learn how to repeat the sentence in 2 minutes. But then if you need to conjugate it, then that's a different story. That doesn't make sense. And I should mention that it's of course not the best way of going about it, having 2 days with 20 hours. Because when you sleep, you solidify what you learn, so I didn't get to take advantage of that. But it was a nice experiment, and now I just want to learn more. I'll leave links to all the resources I used in the description. And now you might want to watch this. Thank you for watching.